Hello, hello, hello. My name is NicholassRivas, and I talk about politics and stuff. And today we're going to be talking about the most recent post by Trump on his Truth Social platform. So Trump has a platform that he posts on regularly, his Truth Social, because he was banned off of Twitter, which I definitely disagree with. I don't want him banned on anything. Like I want to read what he says, and given that the president should, be vetted through the public, like we should be able to see what he says, is definitely disheartening to me. But it is what it is. I still see him posting stuff, so thankfully I can see it and retort his stupid claims. But he recently just said that the Hunter Biden campaign or the Hunter Biden story would have caused his election to go his way, right? So he's both acknowledging that he would have won the election, which is something he is not commonly consistent with. He keeps saying that the election he did win. So to say that he would have won with the Hunter Biden story is also just a fucking farce that he's perpetuating. But basically, he states that the Hunter Biden laptop story that was kind of snuffed by the social media conglomerates would have led him to a victory, which for one, not true. There's no backing of that. He's just being a whining little bitch. And for two, even if you could quantify that story had some pushing, like it did help, it was going to help him in some way. It's not enough to win the 80,000 votes needed, right? And that's not a small number. That idea that he lost by that small of a margin per se, like I think it was 80,000 votes in general, electoral college wise. I think it's millions when it comes to the popular vote. So as much of a push that Trump got and how much of a fan base he does have, he's not this like unbeatable beast that he thinks he is. And so these stories that were to come out, it just makes him look more pathetic. Like, oh, I need the Hunter Biden story, a guy who is not the president. He's just related to the president. I need his son to mess up so I could win. Like, that's just pathetic. And he's just been complaining and complaining. On Truth Social, he legitimately just has a post that says, why are people being so mean to me? Like, he's just a whiny bitch. And, like, that's never changed. That's always been him. And I definitely know that people get whiny with him. Like, that's why people feel vindicated that, like, when he goes on his little tirades, they're like, he's such a badass bro. Like, he's really tearing it into these liberals. But it's pathetic because he's most of the time this just baby who complains about everything. So I don't know. I'm definitely not surprised that he is looking kind of shit in the most recent Republican polls. I mean, he still looks great. He's still powerful. I'm never going to underestimate the guy. That's the one thing people always do is underestimate Trump. This election, even though he did lose, he came out with the second highest votes of all time, right? Like, the guy is not this like whatever character. Like, you have to take him seriously. As much as it's annoying, as ludicrous as it is that this guy even gets this far, he is a powerhouse. But you do have people like DeSantis who are coming and making way. And yeah, I don't like DeSantis either. And I actually prefer Trump over DeSantis. I would feel at least DeSantis is like not going to cause a ruckus if he loses in the election. Because that was the big thing with Trump, is that losing of the election, he definitely turned the country even more volatile. And that's sad that our country, it really like hinges upon one person to make the crowds and masses this, toxic. But it is what it is, right? And so in the case of Trump and his complainingness and being annoying, he's also dangerous. So I'm very conflicted on who I want. I mean, DeSantis is definitely pound for pound just a worse guy. I would consider DeSantis more of like the traditional Republican, and those brought us to the war in Iraq. So I'm not excited for that if it means that we just get a guy who does mean tweets. But he didn't even do that either. He definitely divided the country, and his pound for pound policy matches up with DeSantis. So it's like, who do you want more? Like, who do you want the less, right? I don't know. I don't know amongst the Republican Party, and I definitely think they have a good chance. But given that the Democrats are leading in the polls and could potentially stop the red wave, Republicans might need to step up. And if it's Republican Trump or DeSantis, that's looking pretty bad for them if this continues. So I don't know. Genuinely don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. I just know that I'm annoyed by Trump, and his actions are always the most annoying part of him. But it's just pathetic to think that people look at this guy like some Macho Man Randy Savage shit. Like, the guy is just a straight baby. Like, he's just a fucking big ass baby who complains about everything, has no truth or holds any accountability to himself, which is like, it's like saying at this point that the sky is blue. Like he's perpetuated this narrative for a while now. He's continued to be a complaining little baby bitch, and we just are surprised every time he does it. I mean, I genuinely was like, wow, he really said that we need to have a whole recall because the Hunter Biden story was snuffed. You know, as much as Republicans like to snuff uh who the hell were they? His kids. They were also um, taking part in making some money and some rounds around the White House, and they weren't as treated as much as the Hunter Biden stuff was, which I'm not defending. Both of them should be prosecuted if there's any grounds of legality that they've broken, right? Like, I'm not like these are the problem with the sycophants is I don't give a shit about your fucking like nepotism shit. Like, if you're being like doing some illegal shit, I don't want to stand with you. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. We're holding you accountable because that's the way we do shit here in these, first world countries. We have accountability. We have laws. We put our people in power to the fucking flames if they fuck up because they're at our will. But people like Trump and his sycophants are like, oh, but Hillary, yeah, fuck her too. I don't understand why this is so hard for people to grasp that we have to be partisan. And I genuinely want to ask people, because I know a lot of people in my life who are big Trump sycophants and will defend him, and I genuinely want to ask, like, do you want this guy to be your like ruler, like a powerful dictator? I'm curious, what would they say, right? And I think, look, if they want a ruler and it to be Trump, then they don't care about you and I. They are the epitome of what is wrong with our world, and they want sycophants to control our body and our mind and basically just our downfall. Like, they don't care about us. So this ideology of like sycophants is disgusting and terrifying. Like, I'm not crazy for being worrisome of this and feeling that these guys are going to destroy democracy. Like, I'm not insane in feeling that these people are sycophant freakazoids, right? But many of them will think of that. And like Trump complaining, he's definitely making us feel like, oh, I'm the victim here. I'm just a little baby. Like, he's trying to get sympathy from his fans to be like, oh, I'm the Messiah and you guys are really you're really attacking me, you Romans. Like, that's how he's trying to paint himself as, which is pathetic, but it works. The people love his stupid acts of like babyism. Like, he's not a tough macho man, but on the more serious note is he is a person who's going to destroy this country. These talks of the election was a fraud and yada yada yada, he is dangerous. When you have Republicans just in the most recent election denying that they've lost, you're going to get this forever now because of people like Trump. I think it was Palin who just recently said that she didn't lose the election, it was stolen or something like that when the Alaska election. And there was a Republican before her who said the same thing. This is what we signed up for. This is what we're doing to ourselves, that we are allowing these idiots to basically, use their shitty policies and shitty campaigns as a way to have a scapegoat now. Like, they're not these tough on crime or tough on, like, they're many of, like, there's a guy, Stephen Molyneux. He complained that they was getting censored for some of his like more Nazi rhetoric, more racist rhetoric on social media, which I disagree with. I don't want to be censored, but he doesn't care. When asked in an interview, like, well, we don't care that the other side gets censored. We just care that we got censored. That's who we're up against. These sycophants, these bigots, they want us to fail. Like, I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but it's the truth. They don't care about us. They want us to have oppression. They want us to be oppressed. So I definitely don't have sympathy when I hear him complain like a little bitch baby, because I don't think he would give a shit if I was censored. But we do have to be objective. We do have to be fair, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and hope that he loses his rights, but I'm also going to fight for mine. And that's kind of just like a nice little speech, when in reality all I'm saying is I don't want to censor this guy, but we should also retort his stupidness. And if he is being violent, then ban him off of social media, because that's a freedom of speech thing that doesn't apply in real life either. Like, if you say some stupid shit and you threaten people, like, yeah, you're gonna get banned on social media, right? Like if you threaten someone in the street and say I'm gonna like harm you or incite some sort of dangerous acts on people, you aren't being protected by freedom of speech. You're just a piece of shit at that point, you know? Like, like I don't know how else to paint it. So yeah, it's a lot of me kind of conflicted on what all this means, and it was more just I feel like I started off being like kind of making fun of him, like, oh, look how funny this idiot is, but now it's genuinely like freaking me out the more I think about it. I feel disgusted with this idea that this guy is even being liked, you know, like it's crazy. Like if you like his policies, there's nothing I can do or say that's going to convince you otherwise. But man, the idea that this guy gets so much love is crazy. And to hear him keep complaining, it's so funny because, like, you know, I would feel a comfortable world like if he was being dunked on politically, but he's not. Like he has a pretty big following, and so it is terrifying. Like I'm not trying to dumb it down, but you know, I guess we'll see what happens. I think it's a good spot to end it here, though. So it is what it is. Gabagool. See you all laters.
Enemy hop established above. The bomb has been planted. Enact Casevac protocols. Better we live to fight another day.